KCA students, welcome to week 4 of grammar. Today we're going to be learning about our first two types of verbs. So, get out your KCA Grammar Year 1, Week 4 lesson sheet and a sharpened pencil, and let's get started. This year in grammar, we're going to be learning about 4 different types of verbs. And those are going to be intransitive verbs, transitive verbs, helping verbs, and linking verbs. But for this lesson, we're just going to focus on intransitive verbs and helping verbs. So let's begin with intransitive verbs. These are verbs that do not transfer action and they are not followed by objects. So an example of this would be the pitcher tosses. We know that tosses is going to be our verb and that it's going to be intransitive. We know that it's intransitive because it's not transferring any action to an object. The sentence doesn't say the pitcher tosses the ball. It says the pitcher tosses. We don't know what the pitcher is tossing. It's not transferring any action, and the verb is not followed by any object. So what really matters is what follows in the rest of the sentence. If the sentence were to say the pitcher tosses the ball, then we would know tosses is not an intransitive verb, but we'll get to that scenario in the next lesson. The next sentence says she sleeps. Sleeps is not transferring any action, so we know that this is an intransitive verb. He eats. It doesn't say what he is eating. It doesn't say he eats pizza. No action is being transferred and there's no object following the verb. So we know that eats in this situation is an intransitive verb. Moving on to helping verbs. Helping verbs are verbs that are used to help another verb express the thought correctly within a sentence. So an example of this would be the pitcher is tossing. The word is our helping verb here because we couldn't just say a pitcher tossing. That doesn't make any sense. The word tossing needs help from another verb so that it can express the thought correctly. The second example is they could have eaten. You can't just say they eaten. This sentence needed helping verbs could have in order to express the thought correctly. The next example is she should stay. In this sentence, the word should is a helping verb. The word should gives the added details that is necessary to make the sentence correct and express the thought that is wanted to be expressed. Some examples of helping verbs are am, is, are, was, were, being, and so on. These verbs are often used in order to help other verbs express their thoughts correctly. So sometimes learning the roles of words within a sentence can be kind of confusing, especially with verbs. So it's helpful to diagram your sentences, which is basically drawing out a sentence. Drawing out our sentences like this helps us to identify the connections between different words within the sentence and to realize the roles that our words play within each sentence. So we're going to start diagramming with our intransitive verb that we used earlier. And you always want to start before you diagram by labeling the words within your sentence. So we know that we have to find both the verb and the subject in our sentence. We know tosses is our verb. That's the action being performed. And we know what type of verb it is too. It's an intransitive verb because it's not transferring an action to an object. And that means she must be our subject, and we know it's a pronoun because that's a word that takes the place of a noun. So we're going to start by drawing a line for our words to sit on. She tosses. And then we draw a line in between the subject and the verb. It's as simple as that. By drawing it out in this way, we can see the word that goes here is the subject. The word that goes here is the verb. We're always going to use this type of layout when diagramming our sentences. So now we have this sentence, he is tossing, and we're going to do the same thing. We know that we have to find the verb, so the action being performed here is tossing. And again, it's not transferring any action, so it's an intransitive verb. Now, the subject is going to be he, and again, it's a pronoun, as we know. But now we have this extra word, is, and we know that is our helping verb, because it helps us accomplish what is being said within this sentence. He is tossing. So again, we're going to draw it out like this. He is our subject, and our subject always goes there. And here's our verb phrase, is tossing. Easy as that. So now we're going to begin with the sentences that is on your lesson sheet. And we're going to diagram in the way that we just learned, but we're also going to incorporate some things from previous lessons. So, the directions say, label the subject, noun or pronoun, and type of verb of each sentence. Label the sentence structure and purpose of each sentence. And then we're also going to diagram. So, we're going to find our verb, the action, laughed. We know that it's intransitive because there's no object being transferred any action. And we know that our subject is she. And we know that that's a pronoun. So next we can diagram. So where does our subject go? And our verb intransitive goes here. And now we have to label the structure and the purpose of each sentence. So we know that the purpose of this sentence is to make a statement or declaration. So it's going to be a declarative sentence. And we know that this sentence only has one clause, she laughed. So it's going to be a simple sentence. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to label our words, find the verb and the subject. The verb here is going to be gardened. That's the action being performed. And again, is it transferring any action? No. So it's a verb intransitive. The subject is going to be man. He is the one gardening, and it's a subject noun. Now here, the word the we also have to label, and the is going to be actually an adjective, so we're just going to label that as an adjective. We don't have to pay too much attention to that quite yet, but for now just label it as adjective. So now, diagramming, we draw our line. Our subject goes in the first slot, man, draw a line. Verb intransitive goes in the second, gardened. And for an adjective, we're going to put this one here, the. We put this adjective there because the word the is describing or modifying the word man. It's referring to the word man. The man gardened. So that's why we put this below here. And again, we're going to learn more about adjectives in a future lesson, but for now, that's what you got to know. Next, we have to find the sentence purpose and structure. So we see that this, again, is a statement being made, a declaration, so it's declarative, and there's only one clause in this sentence, so we know that it's going to be a simple sentence. So our third sentence says, he is dancing. The verb here is going to be dancing. That's the action, and it is not transferring any action to an object, so it's intransitive. He is going to be our subject, the one performing the dancing, and we know that's a pronoun. And then our last word in here is helping accomplish the action. So that's going to be our helping verb. Our subject goes in the first slot, and our verbs go in the second. He is dancing. And the sentence purpose. What is the purpose of the sentence? It's to ask a question, and we see that by the question mark at the end. So it's an interrogative sentence, and we know the structure is going to be simple. Okay, this sentence is, they should have called. The action here is called, and it's not transferring any action to another object, so it's intransitive. Our subject is going to be they, and it's a pronoun, the ones performing the action. And then here we have two helping verbs, which help express the thought wanted to be conveyed in the sentence. They should have called. So we're going to diagram it in the same way. They should have called. One note about diagramming is whatever letter is capitalized in the written sentence is also going to be capitalized in the diagram. So capital T here means a capital T here. And here we also have to fill out the purpose and structure of the sentence. So what is the purpose? The purpose is to make a statement. So it's a declarative sentence. And the structure is simple again. So this command sentence is one that you guys are all too familiar with. And we know that obviously the action here is going to be run. So that's our verb. And it's not transferring any action to an object. So it's a verb intransitive. It's kind of sloppy. And the subject, since it's a command, is going to be the understood you, which is our subject pronoun. So, diagramming it, you just do just like this. Capital R. And that's how you diagram an imperative sentence. So we know, obviously, the structure is going to be, the purpose is going to be imperative because it is a command, and it is also exclamatory because it ends with that exclamation point. And the sentence structure is going to be simple, again, because it has one clause. So that's all for this video, guys, and I just want to encourage you in saying that sometimes, even when you're just beginning diagramming, it can be pretty difficult, but you get the hang of it, and in the end, it really does help you to be able to visualize your sentences well, and that's going to help you so much in the long run. So I hope you guys enjoyed verbs, and I know you're going to do amazingly on your homework.